Hey, this is Matt Cain with the San Francisco Giants, and you guys are listening to Torture Cast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants!
Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants. This is Torture Cast.
Standing on top, not gonna stop. We came to play, ain't slowing down. We're here to stay, and we're stomping on whatever's in our way. I'm feeling like a giant tonight.
Welcome, everybody, to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. My name is Willie Dills. We are finally out of the June swoon. I'm using air quotes while I say that because we're in July now. It is July the 6th. So at this point, we've been playing for quite a bit. We are deep enough into the season that you kind of can start to see the storylines build in each of the divisions. And we're going to talk today about what's going on in San Francisco. And we also now know who the All-Star team is going to be, or who at least from the San Francisco Giants will be participating in the All-Star team. And we're excited to talk about that. So let's get right into it. I'm joined today. It's a small two-man operation today, but we have with us the one, the only, Mr. Chad King. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, we're running a small business tonight. Good tax breaks, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we got to work extra hard, so might as well get a break. But we are Sans Ben and Sans Eric tonight, which is okay. Both of them are having different issues, but of course they'll be back as soon as they can. But let's start talking about what's going on here. The Giants are 4 games back. It feels bad right now because we're only 1 game over 500 and we're on a 6-game losing streak. But it's 4 games back. Let's put this into perspective because I was on the Giants subreddit, the SF Giants subreddit. Mm-hmm. People aren't familiar with it. It's just sfgiants.reddit.com. And somebody made a post about, should we be sellers now? Should we be thinking about trading off all of our pieces for farm prospects?
Was the user's name like Chicken Little or something? What the hell?
I know. So I posted it and I said, are you serious? We're 4 games back. It's the beginning of July, and we have injured players who are scheduled to come back.
Yeah, we just hit the halfway mark.
This is not the time to be freaking out and talking about whether we should be sellers or not. And I get this feeling from Giants fans, or I think just any sports fans in general, that that everybody's a little reactionary when it comes to their home team. Everything's always so great when it's great, and it's so terrible when it's terrible. And everybody needs to just kind of take a step back and really look at the situation. And the situation for the Giants is they're 4 games back. That's not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination, especially not when you're talking about the beginning of July. So just relax, everybody. We're okay.
Yeah, you're going to have a portion of the fan base that's going to panic, with a 6-game losing streak, and it doesn't look so good tonight. It's not over yet, but Giants are in some trouble right now. So hopefully it won't go to 7 here, but.
When the Giants scuffle, and they've shown that they have the ability to be both incredibly hot and incredibly cold, when the Giants scuffle, they tend to kind of scuffle as a team. And when you're talking about having, Nori Aoki and Hunter Pence both out, it really means that guys have had to step up, and we just haven't really had the firepower to kind of keep up. Then we had Tim Lincecum go down, which kind of actually came, like Hudson and Lincecum kind of going down, kind of came at the right time where Bochy didn't have to make a big decision about the starting lineup. Which is kind of weird, but Peavy and Cain didn't come in and win their games, although they both looked okay. I didn't think that they were really the issue. Peavy looked good. Cain had some problems. He walked a lot of guys.
Yeah,
but he looked okay. He was throwing okay. His velocity was there and everything. If he could just short, and he hasn't pitched in a year, so
no, I'm not going to read anything into it. Yeah, for his first start in a year. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I think it's just right now it's not a time to panic, right?
Well, no, and you look at the 6-game losing streak that they're currently in right now. 3 of them were by 1 run. 1 was a walk-off, right? And 3 of those losses, or 4 of those losses, were by basically 1 swing of the bat. A 3-run home run here, a 3-run home run there. So they were in 5 of the 6 games, pretty much right up to the end. And the way the baseball bounces and the way pitches go, they could have easily been 2-4 on that road trip, or even 3-3 if things went their way, and no one would be thinking that the sky is falling right now.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's this is the way baseball works. It
can be a very cruel lady sometimes.
No, I mean, sometimes you win because you bunt it and the guy throws it away going down first base line. Sometimes that's how we win.
That happened once last year.
Yeah. Sometimes Matt Duffy scores from second base.
Sometimes the ball hits the bag,
and we still lose. Like that's just how it works. So it's
Right.
sometimes a guy who we just DFA'd hits a home run in the 9th inning and walks off, and the game's over. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. So we should probably talk about that, right? We should talk about Ishikawa. So Ishikawa has been DFA'd. Did you guys, was it last week when you guys talked about McGee being DFA'd again for the second time?
Yeah, we talked about him.
Covered that already, right?
Yeah, we didn't. We were like, oh, he's gone. Okay, well, he's not coming back ever again.
But there's a lot of moves that were made recently. Ishikawa, but also Bochy, the younger Bochy, was also DFA'd. I didn't see. Did he get picked up?
You know what? I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
I missed that.
I didn't pay attention.
Really?
I'll look into that.
Brett Bochy was DFA'd?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I missed that. No.
Yeah, he was. It was the exact same time as Ishikawa's, because they had to make room for. They had to make room for both Cain and Peavy, and then there was some other moves that got made as
All
well.
right,
So
no, I missed that.
there's a lot of stuff that happened all at once.
So
Ishikawa got picked up by the Pirates.
Yep.
What do you think his chances are of actually playing on the big squad this season? Is it some move? Like, did they need a first baseman? I wasn't really paying attention to the
Well,
Pirates,
he's not going to
so.
play much, but when you're claimed off of waivers, you have to be put on the 25-man roster.
Yeah, so he's not going to the minors.
He's going to be with the big club.
Yeah.
He already is, I guess.
But
right now.
I didn't. Like, is he starting for them? Is he like? Do they need just like a left-hander off the bench, or what?
I think
I'm
he's
not
just going to be a
even
left-hander
familiar.
off the bench. Yeah.
All right, well, that makes a lot of sense. It's sad to see him go.
Yeah, it is.
He came up with the Giants organization, and even the first times he had to go was sad. I remember when he came out in his jeans to pick up his ring. It was kind of a weird moment, because he's somebody
Wasn't it
that I think as
strange? You
Giants
thought
fans
that
would
he
be
was
rooting
out of
for.
baseball at that point.
Yeah,
It
like, I
was
thought
just
he
like a
was done.
symbol. It was like, one of us going out there in jeans and a Giants jersey. It was like, oh, that's so sad. His baseball career is over. Good for him getting a ring. And then, 3 years later, boom.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's hitting one to win the pennant, which is just crazy. I mean, that's a moment that's going to go down in history. And if nothing else positive happens in his baseball career, you gotta say that it was a successful career, right? Like when you look back on a guy like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, sure, you didn't have a bunch of all-star seasons, but you had like one of the biggest moments that any ball player could ever have. So,
well, he still lives in San Jose, and so wherever he goes, people are always going to buy him a drink the rest of his life.
absolutely,
So he's secure in that.
absolutely. He what he seems to me like though. He does seem like a guy who's going to stay in baseball, whether he's a player or not. Like, I think he's a guy who's he'll at some
He's
point.
kind of a
maybe
smart
like
guy.
minor
He
league
just-
hitting
yeah.
coach or something.
Yeah,
you know?
he strikes me as someone who is going to stick around in the game. Like you said,
Yeah.
Some sort of hitting coach or some sort of, not a scout, but just some sort of player development director. He's going to stay in the game. I think he's got the acumen
I
for
believe
it.
so too. Yeah, and then that's fine. Like, not everybody makes it as a player. I mean, so. Bruce Bochy recently, by the way, I don't know if this was talked about at all last week because I wasn't there, but Bruce Bochy was recently essentially like voted as like the best manager in baseball. By his peers.
By his
essentially.
peers. Mhm.
Yeah. But if you think about like Bruce Bochy's playing career, what really stands out to you as a player when you think about Bochy? I mean, he doesn't go down in history like as one of the all-time greats or anything, right?
No, of course
But you
not.
look at what he's done. I mean, yeah, career. I think he's like a career 240 hitter or something like that.
Yeah, he wasn't even average. I think he was a below average major leaguer.
So but then you think about like what he's done now as a manager. Like just because like you don't cut it as a player doesn't necessarily mean that your time in this game is over. And if you're the kind of player who sits around and learns and pays attention and has that kind of baseball mind, maybe your body just doesn't have it, but you could go on and you can do great things in the game still. So
Yeah, and odd things happen. I mean, I forget his name right now, but the manager for the Marlins, who was the general manager, never played a day of baseball in his life.
Sure. Yeah.
Professional ball, anyway.
Think about the guy for the Warriors. What's his name? The GM for the Warriors. Hold on.
Oh, we were just talking about it today on Fitz and Brooks, too.
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers. I was about to say Bob Lee.
He didn't even come from like a basketball background, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like he's just a guy who he was like a sports agent or something, and like that. But he just is like a smart guy.
Yeah, and he was awarded GM of the year too.
To do this and put together the championship team. So it's kind of a matter of finding what you're good at and finding a way to excel at it, and you can do that. And I fully believe Ishikawa is a guy who's got that in him. He's a good Giant. He'll be remembered as a good Giant forever, no matter what happens from here on out. But who knows? His playing days might not be over. All right. I'll try to find the Brett Bochy stuff if I can, but let's talk about the All-Stars. We officially have 4 All-Stars in the All-Star game, which is
not a bad haul.
Yeah, if you think about a 42-41 team,
about to be 42-42, by the way,
a 500 ball club, 4 seems like quite a bit, doesn't it? But I guess when your manager is the manager of the All-Star game,
well, that's going to help. It certainly helped with probably one of the picks.
Yeah, so that kind of allows you to get some of your guys in there. So let's go. So Posey was voted in. Mm-hmm. He will be the starting catcher. And
isn't it crazy? He didn't even make the All-Star game last year. He wasn't voted in. He wasn't selected as a reserve, too. And it's funny, is he actually ended up as being the number 1 rated, as far as statistics are concerned in WAR, catcher in the National League last year.
By the end of the season?
Yeah, by the end of the season.
Well, he had a rough start to the year.
He did.
But he really came on strong in the second half. So, but he doesn't get like think about a guy like Kobe or something who gets voted in even when he's like injured for the whole season, right?
Yeah, or a Derek Jeter or something like that.
He doesn't get that kind of treatment yet, and he might, in a few more years. He's still a fairly young guy, and he's definitely like one of the superstars of the league. But he is the starting catcher. Yadier Molina would really only be the other guy who I think would contend with him, right? And,
and he wasn't even close this year.
Yeah. And, the thing is St. Louis has a much better record. So I think that's kind of going for Yadier. I mean, sure. St. Louis is insane. 53 wins already at this point. I mean, they're doing good. They're riding high. Sometimes that helps you. But I think even though Molina is considered by a lot of baseball people to be one of the top catchers, I think still when you talk about just to the average fan, the name Buster Posey kind of rings a bell more, right? Mm-hmm. And he deserves it.
Yeah, you're on the national stage so often. Rookie of the Year, MVP, Comeback Player of the Year, Silver Slugger, 3 World Series championships. More than a few commercials.
3 no-hitters. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons to.
Yeah, and he's a guy that doesn't even seek the notoriety. It's just that his performance speaks for itself. I mean, he's not doing tons of endorsements nationally. He's not given a ton of interviews other than what he normally does. He's not a very engaging guy, as we all know. He's pretty monotone. We won the World Series. I'm pretty happy. That kind of thing.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
But I mean, if you look at the pure numbers, I mean, he's hitting over 300. He's got 14 home runs at this point. He's driven in 57. He's looking like he's going to have another strong season as long as he doesn't completely tank. And then you look at Molina, only 2 home runs, hitting sub 300, 27 RBIs. It's just they're in different leagues right now as far as who deserves as far as the numbers go. So he's definitely the guy. He's the best catcher in I think National League at least for sure, and maybe all of baseball. Then of course you got Bumgarner, who I think this is his 3rd in a row now. So he's kind of at this point a staple, and it'd be hard to turn him down considering
it's really hard to turn him down, especially considering what he did last year, and his own manager is the manager of the All-Star team. Yeah, and you already hear about the snubs, and of course Dodger fans and a few other national writers are already crying foul with Kershaw being left off, saying that he's more dominant with Bumgarner despite a slow start. He's got a higher strikeout. That it goes on and on and on. He's the best pitcher in the world.
This is going to be the conversation.
He should be in, and it's look, everything being equal, maybe he is a better pitcher than Bumgarner over the regular season. But hey, man, if you win the World Series, guess who's going to select you over Bumgarner?
Let's hold our fists up together and see which one has more rings on it, and then we'll start talking.
Yeah, I hate that argument. Bochy himself is not going to sit there, and everyone knows this, and go, well, Kershaw's got a .05 better ERA right now after his last start. So, I'm going to take Kershaw over Bum, who won the World Series for. What are you talking about? It's just stupid to even talk about that kind of stuff.
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Bloggers, writers, they got to stir the pot. I get it.
They got to have something to talk about.
I get it.
Now, I think this is the next two are the coolest.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the battery, like you're talking about up the middle. You're talking about the double play combo for the San Francisco Giants. And first, we got to mention Brandon Crawford. This is his first time as an All-Star, and we've been kind of wondering and questioning whether this might be the year that Brandon Crawford actually does kind of break through and get the All-Star nod. Now, he was voted in not by, like, he wasn't just selected by Bochy, right? He was voted in by essentially, because, there's the fans vote in the starting 8, right? And then you've got essentially coaches and managers vote on some other guys for the National League. And those guys fill some stuff out. And then you've got the manager, who is the manager of the team, which is Bruce Bochy, who is the manager of the World Series winning team from the year before, or team in the World Series, picks a few more reserves, right?
Yep.
So Crawford was not picked by Bochy. Crawford was picked by the other managers around the National League.
It was actually the players.
Oh, sorry, it's the players.
Yeah.
Correct. Thank you. So it's like this is essentially the rest of baseball saying, you deserve this, man.
I think that's actually a better honor than the fans themselves, because we all know that it could be a popularity contest.
No,
but to be elected by your own
puts
peers,
together a better campaign or something to get their guys voted in, right? Like,
yeah. And to be selected by a manager, like, well, there's favorites could be played, or there's a necessity to pick one guy over another because you have to have a Rocky on the team or whatever. But to be selected by your peers, I mean, that's a pretty high honor. So I think he's got to be feeling pretty good about that.
But let's talk about why wouldn't he deserve this, right? Like, so he's got 12 home runs, he's almost 50 RBIs, he's got an 812 OPS. There's not, he's played incredibly good defense like we expect from him.
Yeah, as a week ago, he was 10th in the National League in WAR. I mean, not shortstops.
Not just amongst like shortstop, but actual,
like in the National League. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly he's an extremely valuable player to the Giants. He's having a career year. He's already got his career high in home runs at 12, and they're just at the All-Star break. So he's on pace.
He's on
pace
for
24. Can you believe that?
Yeah. No, he's got more than Brandon. But like, if you look at the Giants' home run numbers, though, there's a couple of names that are kind of surprising out there. I mean, you're talking Buster Posey and Brandon Belt. These are guys we understand have power. Yeah. These are guys that we expect to hit home runs. And then you've got Crawford and Duffy up there. It's just kind of like,
Duffy.
All right.
I don't.
Sure.
Doesn't even make
why
sense.
not? What if Duffy had played since the beginning of the season and we never had McGee and we just went, Duffy, you're the guy from the beginning of the season?
Probably could have had another win or two.
If he goes 15 or so more games or whatever, right, as a starter, maybe he's an all-star. I mean, 8 home runs, hitting 292, like.
You know what?
Could be comparable numbers to these guys as well.
I couldn't put it past the possibility. It's just that third base is traditionally a strong position. So
no, third base is a little bit tighter of a race for sure. But still, like it's interesting to think that he's actually potentially played like at that level.
Yeah.
So I think Crawford definitely deserves it.
He's on the NL's all-second team. We'll put it that
there
way.
You go. There you go. So I'm interested to see how much play these guys are probably going to be coming in at the end of the game, playing for a little bit. That's kind of like, so Buster starts, but he'll be out pretty quick. He'll have 2 at bats.
Yeah, he'll have 2 ABs and he'll get out of there. Yeah. I do hope that Bochy does. I mean, I know he's managing for a win, but I do hope that all 4 see action. But actually, out of all 4, I would actually be surprised if Crawford and Panic didn't get in.
No, they'll get in. I think they'll probably come in at the same time, actually, as well. I think they'll. Go for the double play combo,
the middle infield combo. I think that'd be freaking sweet. I hope
they both play insane defense. So
yeah, I think that would be a great switch for him. But I think Bumgarner is the one guy that I wouldn't be surprised that doesn't get in the game.
Well, I think has the most chance to not get in the game because it also depends on where the starts fall and what's happening around that. And
I think he's going to start this Friday, which would put Tuesday is the game, so that would be plenty of rest for him. Sure. I still maybe a batter or 2, but I think he's just going to go ahead and err.
He would have 2. He'd have 3. He'd be on 3 days of rest, which is essentially short rest, but plenty to go an inning.
Yeah.
So I could see he'd come in for an inning, but I think it also depends on what the score is and if they really think they need him. I think he's that kind of decision, not necessarily just let's get him in there just to make an appearance. All right, so the last one that we got to bring up is this was the surprise. I think if anything was a surprise, it was that Joe Panic got selected. And of course, he was selected by Bruce Bochy.
Right.
But you can't argue with this pick either because he's potentially the best second baseman in the National League, hitting over 300. He's hit 6 home runs on his own. He's at 93 hits already. So, I mean, he's potentially looking at maybe going 200 hits for the season. Kid's playing dynamite defense. There's nothing you can say about this guy that you cannot say he doesn't deserve it. He's been in the 2-hole for most of the season. He's doing great there. So I'm excited. Like, this is second year in the bigs. He's already in the All-Stars. Man.
Well, D. Gordon was already selected by the fans, so he's already in. So behind D. Gordon, Joe Panic is second in the NL and all second basemen. He's actually pretty high up there. He's actually number 1 in on-base percentage. What about slugging?
I think you could argue that
he's number 1 in slugging,
right,
and he's number 1 in OPS.
No, I think you could definitely argue that he's better than D. Gordon for sure. I mean, D. Gordon has obviously got like the speed. D. Gordon's he's a good player. He's a very good player. But when you look at the overall package Joe Panic gives you, I think I would prefer if you just put both those guys in front of me and say which one do you want. I think I'd take Joe Panic right now. Obviously.
I would. Yeah, well, D. Gordon's one of those streaky players. He's one of those guys that relies on batting average with balls hit in play. And so if you look at his stats through his career, it's up and down. Like this year, obviously, he's hitting 339 right now, but he's had years hitting 250, then he'll go back up to 320, then go back down to 220. He's just all over the bag. So I don't think fundamentally he's actually that good of a hitter.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, his average is a little bit inflated because of the speed.
Oh, sure.
Like he doesn't have to hit a ball through the hole to actually get a single out of it. So he's got a little bit of advantage there as far as that's concerned. But this is cool, man. I mean, Joe Panic's 24 years old, I believe, and we picked him not that long. When we picked Joe Panic, we were doing this podcast.
Yeah,
we talked about that pick. You know what I mean? Like, that's how new this guy is. Yeah, and we're talking about him now as being like on the major league squad, and that's just cool, man. Like that's to me is just super cool. So
hey, actually, really as a side note, I think I looked back in the archives. I believe your guys' first episode was actually June of 2011. So I think we just passed the 4-year anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go. Happy birthday to us.
We're out of diapers.
That's 4 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
4 years. Yeah.
Where has the time gone?
Almost know how to read.
Half of those years we won World Series championships.
That's right. We got expectations to live up to. Come on, guys. You're down 3-0 tonight. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, we're just going through the July swoon.
The July Brula, I don't know what you say there, but
yeah.
It's crazy. One thing about this team is they are a streaky bunch, man. I look at their losing streaks this year. They've had winning streaks as well. They don't go like 5-5 or 4-6 and 6-4 on occasion. I mean, they've lost 8 games in a row, 5 games in a row, and now it's about to be 7 games in a row. If you add up all those losses, those 3 losing streaks account for just shy of half of their total losses for the season.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was looking at just their standings, and if you think about last year when they got to 42 wins, they had 21 losses, right?
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Now we're sitting on 42, and it's about to be 42. So that's 21 more losses by the time you get to 42. I mean,
yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it's gonna, like the thing is though that they obviously they tanked last year as well. This is baseball. Teams go up and down. Team streak. The Giants, if they can just pull it together at home, they could be, for whatever reason, they've just struggled this year at home. And normally you'd think that the Giants would be doing well at home. But it's really been, I think, that the pitching's been inconsistent, and the offense is obviously hampered when you lose a guy like Pence in a big way. So when you miss a big chunk out of the middle of your lineup, and then of course Pagan having his struggles, like no matter how many guys no matter how many Matt Duffys you end up with out of nowhere, you just can't keep filling those holes day to day, So I do really feel like if the Giants can get that kind of magic of everyone getting healthy at the same time, the team is fully capable of wild card or even taking down the Dodgers. So
they've shown it before. It's just that they just got to snap out of this. I mean, they got to put together something pretty epic here in the next month or two to give us a little bit of hope. I mean, you opened up the
nice
podcast with.
streak.
I know, and they're only 4 back, and then the Dodgers, I believe, are losing if they haven't lost yet tonight. So at worst, again, they're going to probably be 4 back out tonight. But look out, Arizona's right there.
No, yeah.
Arizona's about to pass
I don't know if
us.
I really feel that worried about Arizona.
I'm not worried about them, but the fact that it's at the halfway mark and we're basically equal with Arizona does not speak volumes. So
No, it doesn't mean great things.
No.
Speaking of, let's talk about whether we think Pence coming back can actually resurrect this offense. I tend to think that it can, but we don't know what Pence is really gonna be like health wise when he does get back. Because
when he came back last time, they said he was strong. He was hitting bombs, and he did. When he came back, he hit a couple of home runs right off the bat. They won a few games. He looked healthy, and then suddenly he went out with the tendonitis, and you wonder. They said it had nothing to do with his injury from spring training, but at the same time, it's like, well, did he overtrain it in rehab? Because you kind of figure that's the kind of guy Pence is. Maybe he was too aggressive in his rehab, and maybe that translated into an overuse injury of the tendons. I don't know. I mean,
or maybe his body wasn't ready for the,
or maybe he came back too fast. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, like maybe his body wasn't ready for just diving and chasing balls and running, just the kind of the wear and the normal wear and tear that you put on your body during baseball. It's like it's to me, like, I'm surprised that these guys can go throw a ball every day. Like, I know in the last, like, you played baseball, but like throwing every single day, like, your arm gets tired, man. And
I'm coaching All-Stars right now, and I'll throw with the other coaches for about 10 minutes before practice, and the next day my arm's sore.
Yeah. And these guys do it every single day. And sure, your arm gets stronger over time because you're used to it, but still, it's not natural motion for your arm. And it's just all the things you do in baseball are not natural for your body.
Well, the report I read today is that he is coming along very, very nicely. He hit about 20. In fact, he did hit 20 pitches in BP yesterday. He hit 7 out. And
that's good.
Granted, it's not major league pitching, but at the same time, hitting 7 out of 20.
No, but that means that the bat speed's there. And
the bat speed's there, the power's there.
Yeah.
They said, one cleared the 30th row in the bleachers. So they're saying he looks really good, and it's possible he returns this week. But my question is, okay, well, he's not returning tomorrow, probably not returning on Wednesday. So what do you have left? The Philadelphia series, and then you go to the All-Star break?
Pretty
much.
Then
you get another 3 days off? I mean, so here's the balance. I think if the Giants were not scuffling like they are now, and by the way, they just did lose 3-0 to the Mets.
Yeah, so it's seven
in a row. They're back to 500. And they were at 30-20. Remember, they were 10
games over. Yeah,
they were the second best team in the National League behind the Cardinals when they were 30-20, playing 600 ball. And since then, they're 10 games under 500. What is that? 12-22.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just. Oof.
But, I think you're making a good point. If they weren't scuffling, they just wait till the All-Star break.
I'd say, wait, because you give them that extra week off. But now that they're scuffling so bad, I mean, they need something. They need a shot of adrenaline. So, hell, just stick them in there.
Who's
as early
better
as you can.
To give you a shot of adrenaline?
Yeah.
We saw what he did when he came here the first time in 2012. I mean, that's a shot of adrenaline right there.
Yeah,
so.
I think it could do the club a world of good if he was put in there, and let's say they won 3 out of their last 4 going into the break. They're not going to feel so bad.
It gives you a good feeling. It gives you a real good feeling if that's the case. Speaking of what's giving you a good feeling too in the All-Star break is just having 4 guys there. It's those guys are going to go in there and they're going to feel like, hey, we're part of a winning team. It feels that way, right? When you get there, like there's that many of you guys there. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good.
Plus, the whole Giants coaching staff
guys.
is going to be there with Bochy. It's pretty cool to have that Giants representation.
I feel like the players that aren't going, they'll get that rest, and guys like Pagan and those guys like probably really need it. We've been leaning on Duffy pretty hard. Buster's not going to really have to work too hard during the All-Star game. He's going to, catch a couple innings and then he'll be out of there. So I'm not worried about the rest situation for those guys, but I feel like just something needs to build momentum, and whether it's Pence coming back or whether it's having that All-Star break and having that feeling of we can talk about how we won the World Series and we kind of get that feeling going again, that'll be nice. That'll just be nice, because right now it doesn't feel like I kind of dread the Giants games, when we've been scuffling like this. Like, obviously I want to watch them. Obviously,
no runs tonight. 1 run last night in Washington. Yeah. I mean, they're just scuffling so bad.
You remember some of these teams in like the mid '90s and stuff where you just kind of She's like, I'll just read the paper tomorrow. You know, like
I'm just gonna skip this game tonight.
I don't even want to watch this, man. I don't want to sit here and just be sad all night because I watched this. But anyway, so something shot in the arm somewhere. Hunter Pence, he seems like he would be a great shot in the arm if we get him back. And I fully believe that you get Hunter Pence back, you get Aoki back, and if Pagan can get right now, Pagan needs a break, can't get a break, right?
No,
you can't. You can't sit him.
They're down 2 outfielders. I mean,
you can't sit him. Yeah, so he needs to have that luxury of being able to sit a game out here and there.
Yeah.
Because his body's is scuffling, and have Blanco spell him. But
and it was a little odd tonight because you have your 2 outfielders out, and tonight Bochy rested both of the new All-Stars, Crawford and Panic. And look, these guys need off days from time to time. I get that, but both on the same night after a 6-game losing streak. Hey, Bochy has his reasons. I get it, but you got 2 of your outfielders gone, and now 2 of your infielders gone.
Yeah, but it could also be like
they
let's
turn into
just
0
shake
runs
something
tonight.
up. Maybe just trying to shake something up and fix something. I don't know. All right, let's.
By the way, with Pence, are you going to talk to him when you play him in that Hearthstone battle?
Yeah, which I did enter.
Oh, you did.
I did enter that. Yeah, I figured I might as well. But it was funny. I was like streaming, and people kept linking this link to me, and they're like, you should sign up for this. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could talk to Hunter Pence anytime I want to.
Right.
But I just haven't been able to do it yet, or I just haven't actually just done it yet. But this would be funny if this is how it actually were to happen for the first time. It's like I could just go get tickets, and I could go into the dugout, or I would go into the clubhouse and talk to him. And I just haven't done that yet. But everyone's like, "Oh, Dills, you gotta," But anyway, I did sign up for it. We'll see what happens. If it does happen, it'll be a cool story.
Yeah.
All right, new favorite guy. I think we both we agree.
I think we pretty much covered it. The All-Stars, man.
The All-Stars.
Feeling good about it.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to have 4. I think so the last time we had 4.
It's a good salve to the wound that is the 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, exactly. The last time we had 4 was 2011. Matt Cain, Lincecum, Pablo, Brian Wilson, and then Vogt. Oh, no, we had 5, but we had 4 homegrown All-Stars, and all 4 of these guys are
That was
homegrown.
when Vogie made it, right? That was the Arizona.
Yeah, Vogie made it, too, so we had 5 All-Stars that year.
Yeah.
But we have 4, but all 4 of them came straight out of our farm system, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So moving on from the love, let's hate on some people. I'm going to just hate on – I'm just going to start us off. I'm not going to hate on Max Scherzer. Who I'm going to hate on is the people who are bitching and moaning about how ESPN cut away to an interview with him, and Crawford hit a home run or whatever, and it's like, oh, he hit a home run in like a little tiny box because you're talking to Scherzer. Well, Scherzer's on like one of the hottest streaks going on right now that a pitcher can go on. I mean, he's like, completing all of his games and like no hitting people. It's like, let the man have a moment on ESPN. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But Twitter blew up. I follow the Torture Cast Twitter, and we pretty much only follow people who like the Giants.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed to have like a big problem with interviewing Max Scherzer.
Nah, I know.
I was just like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
I didn't have a chance to watch the broadcast last night, but I did look at Twitter, and everybody was blown up about the East Coast bias, and they didn't know Crawford was going to hit a home run.
No, and it doesn't matter because the interviews happen during innings all the time. And they happen both ways and whatever. It's just like I don't understand why we need to look for reasons to bitch and moan about this East Coast bias. Sometimes it's very obvious and sometimes I get it. And I think it's real. I'm not saying East Coast bias isn't real. But when you're talking about a pitcher who's legitimately doing something special right now, just let it go, man. It's fine.
East Coast bias used to bother me, but in my old advanced age now, I kind of look back on it and I go, why does it matter? Let's say ESPN suddenly gave the Giants more love. How does that change your life? How does that change their performance on the field?
I don't even watch ESPN in the first place.
Right. How does that change you as a fan? I mean, it's literally, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just words.
But, I'll say this.
Pictures.
3
That's all
World
it is.
Series rings softens the feeling of the East Coast bias quite a bit because when you aren't winning, when your team isn't winning, and you never get to, the one time ESPN seemed to care was when Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs, right? And with
Pedro Gomez following his every move. Yeah.
And it was frustrating to be like, we just never get talked about. Like, I felt like they talked about the Expos more than they talked about the Giants, right? Yeah. And that I know how frustrating that felt. And when you win 3 out of 5, suddenly things don't they roll off your shoulder a little bit, right? You know, like you're just like, all right. So maybe it's the old age, maybe it's the 3 World Series championships. One way or another, I'm not bitter anymore. So I think all you guys should just lay off, not worry about it so much. All right, there you go. Who are you gonna hate on?
All right, Don Mattingly. Now, okay, yeah, he's a Dodger.
Easy to hate on, by the way.
Easy to hate on, by the way. But the move he made last night was just beyond comprehension. I had no idea what the hell he was doing, unless he owed Puig a personal favor, which I highly doubt, considering the problems that Puig has had, not only on the team, and of course that recent book just came out. And have you read those excerpts of some of the players and some of the problems they've had in the confrontations?
I actually haven't. I heard that it was bad, but I haven't actually seen the specifics.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And of course, Mattingly has benched him on several occasions for being late or personal conduct,
kind
things
of a
that
guy
weren't
doesn't
disclosed.
really give a shit, huh?
Right.
That's kind of the impression I get.
So last night, Phillies are up 8-0. 8-0. Ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, 1 out, 1 runner on. And Puig is up at the plate. And he hits a ball down the right field line, which was called foul. And it was close. It was near the chalk line. Mattingly challenged it.
Okay.
He stopped the game for a full 1 minute and 53 seconds to challenge a foul ball in the ninth inning of an 8-0 game. And you just kind of go, really?
Yeah.
Really, Mr. Mattingly? What are you doing to disgrace this game of baseball? Let it go.
He just, it's fun. Like, okay, there's an argument to be made, right? That what you're doing right there is you're looking out for your player, right? Your player deserves a hit. So you're looking out for your player. When your player is Puig, I don't think you're looking out for your player.
That's exactly my point, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it was someone else, I'd be like, well, maybe. But they have a bad history.
Let's say he's a guy who's challenging for who's trying to hit 300, or he's scuffling, right? Or let's say he's in a huge slump and just trying to.
Or he's
get
got a hitting streak about to break.
He's got a hitting streak, yeah, something like that. I don't know what Mattingly's thinking some of the times. Like it's funny. Like some
He's
of the series,
comical. He's just comical.
you remember the time when he came out to the mound and then he walked off the mound and then got back on the mound, and then Bruce Bochy called him on and they had to replace the pitcher.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just shit like that makes me love Bruce Bochy so much,
Yeah.
because we don't have to worry about it. Sometimes we question Bochy's moves. Sometimes he might leave a guy in one extra batter, things like that. I went to the game where Bumgarner struck out 14.
Mm-hmm.
And, Bumgarner was pitching he actually had a perfect game into the 6th inning.
I know. I was
And
watching that game.
it was a heartbreaker that we lost that game. But essentially, Bochy came out, talked to him, and then went back with runners on second and third. And I think there was 1 out or nobody out. Or maybe there was nobody out, and then he got the next guy, and then he kept him in for one more hitter, and that guy got a double, and essentially tied the game. We ended up losing the game.
Right.
We ended up losing the game on Strickland, though, a ball off his glove that maybe he catches sometimes, and we don't lose that game easily. But it was just one of those weird games. But anyway, those are the times when you kind of question Bochy. He kept him in one extra hitter. At least we don't have to question shit like this, this Mattingly stuff stuff that makes no sense. Some of the moves he makes out of the bullpen. I remember he had a lefty in one game, and we had some righties coming up, and the only guy warming up in the Dodgers bullpen was another lefty. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there going, why would you not have a righty up? You leave the lefty in if we have lefties coming up, but when the righties come up, you put in a righty, right? It all makes sense to me. But he had another lefty up. He literally went to another lefty.
Yeah.
And then the guy got hit, and it was just crazy stuff.
I have some Dodger fans, and I firmly believe this, that most Dodger fans that are actually objective, not
that actually care, in no baseball.
Not I have blue running through my blood and screw every Giant. I'm saying, in a hypothetical world,
if they grew up with Tommy Lasorda,
yeah, well.
That's
a really good point. But most of them would give their left nut to have Bruce Bochy manage their team over Don Mattingly.
Or somebody who actually knows baseball.
Yeah. I think Bochy could squeeze an extra 5 to 10 wins out of that roster right now.
Oh, dude, he could probably win 3 in a row with the talent that they've had over there. Like maybe he can't because the egos are too big or whatever. But something about Bochy and something about maybe Sabian too has made the Giants the egoless team that they are, right? And it's not necessarily because we don't have no stars on our team. We got Tim Lincecum, we got Buster Posey, we have now Madison, but we've got guys who are bona fide superstars in this game, have been at one point, maybe not anymore, whatever. And he's gotten them to just believe in a team ethic, and not a personal thing. So
Yeah.
I think you can't just point to the players and say, "Oh, somehow the players came together." No, it's the guy at the top, and it works its way down.
Name on the front, not on the back.
Yep. All right, so Chad, why are we going to win it all?
Math.
Okay.
Correcting this 0-7 with a 7-0.
Oh, okay. So that you're saying instead of going 0-7, what we should do for the next 7 days is go 7-0.
It's a rough one, man. They're 30-20. I never thought they'd be 42-42 after that start. It's just been very depressing. I mean, again, 4 games back, not the end of the world, totally within striking distance. They could have a hot end of the month or they have a hot August and they're right back into it. But it just hurts a little bit considering if they were just 500 over the last week, they might be actually tied or just a game back of the Dodgers right now. But hey, yeah, they got their sights out.
I could go for
the light is the end of the tunnel. It's still there.
How about let's do this? Let's go 4-1 over the next 5 before the break. Let's just do that.
They need something like that. They really do. They really do.
The Phillies, we could beat up on the Phillies.
Yeah,
so
I think the psychological impact of going under 500 is a really big one. And I think they need to. You can't call tomorrow night a must-win, but psychologically, I think it's a must-win tomorrow night. I really do. It's a rough one.
I mean, there's no must-wins until you're, one game away from elimination. But, some wins have more impact than others.
Yeah.
And, who's pitching tomorrow? Who do we got going out there? So this is game 2 of the Mets series.
Yeah, Heston. Isn't it Kaner tomorrow, maybe?
It's Cain? Okay. You can probably see on
I think it's Kaner.
Okay. Well, either way, we need to find some wins here over the next few games. So we got Cain versus Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
Who's somehow 9-6 this season.
Yeah, the ageless wonder.
Hell did that happen?
He's older than me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then we got Peavy against DeGrom, who's actually has an insanely good ERA, but somehow an 8-6 record. But
the Mets have an astounding pitching
ERA.
staff, but a horrible offense.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so if you think about it, like Bartolo Colon, if Cain comes out and fixes the walk situation, he was doing okay in other ways. The stuff looked like it was fairly decent, so correct the control, and we'll see.
It's control.
And then PV looked okay. He looked
fantastic.
So, yeah. So let's get a win. Let's win the next 2. Take the series, and then we go into Philly, or they come to us. And they're not good. So
they are not good. No, not at all.
So we could beat those guys. So that would be nice. All right, let's go 5-1. I like it.
All right,
4-1 for the next 5. I'm going to say we're going to win it all because Buster Posey. I'm just going to go with the simple, very simple thing here that we just have one of the best players in baseball on our team. I've said this before. I think I've said Pence in the past, but sometimes you just got to look at a guy and say, "We need you to carry us right now," and we're gonna need Buster Posey to carry us. I think I don't know if like right now the way that the team is working and the way just kind of the way we've been kind of scuffling on all levels, and it's like, you remember there was a time when you had to look to guys like Jeff Kent or Barry Bonds or those guys, the superstars of your team, to just win you a few games that you weren't supposed to win. Mm-hmm. And I think we're gonna need that out of Posey. Posey's fully capable of giving us that. So I'm saying Buster Posey's the reason we're gonna win it all. He's gonna carry us, and that's all we need. We just need that guy to come through in clutch situations.
Come up with that walk-off tomorrow night. There
you go.
A little something.
I like that.
Put a little spark in this team.
I believe in the Posey. He's got more Buster hugs in him this year.
Right.
He's not done giving Buster hugs. So, so there you go. So Philadelphia is 28-56. We can't beat up on those guys. And the thing is, too, the Mets are
say
just,
that,
they're
man.
barely over 500, right? So
Yeah.
these are definitely some winnable series. We got to beat up on the teams we're supposed to beat up on.
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
Especially at home. But not
Yeah,
happening.
exactly. Especially at home. Right now, it's just not happening. I think just injuries have a lot to do with it. And this is just, we're in the mid part of the season where the storylines develop as injuries. They mean a lot more than anything else at this point, I think. You know? The fact is, it doesn't matter who's hot right now. What matters is who's hot going into August. What matters is who's got hot going into September, who's hot going into October.
Yep.
So let's get hot in those months. We'll leave these middle months. Eventually, we're going to forget about these. We're going to be like, yeah, I remember
I'd
that.
be fine if they were 4 back on September 1st. They still have a full month to erase 4. I mean, they still have, 3 months to erase 4 games. That's not an issue.
No. But there's going to be, here's what's going to happen. Towards the end of the year, we're going to be like, remember we were 42 and 42? Yeah. Look where we are now, man. Look where we are now.
68 and 42. Amazing.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Like when
please,
24 in a row. Yeah.
That would be insane. Oh my god. I remember when I watched
dream.
Moneyball and I'd forgotten about that 20 wins in a row thing. You know?
Yeah.
And I was watching Moneyball and I was like, holy shit, that did happen. Yep. And that was insane. A's fans were insufferable during that thing. I could not. I had a friend who I worked with, and he was a huge A's fan. You know, I'm a big Giants fan, and every day he just that's 16, man. Here we go. You know, I'm just like, all right, buddy. I just can't be bothered anymore to hear about your damn A's.
No, it's cool that they got the trophy that year.
Yeah.
Real cool.
Remember that? Yeah.
That trophy for the 20-game winning streak.
No. Nope, that didn't happen.
Oh, wait. No trophies.
No, the 20 game in a row, that doesn't mean you just win it all. No.
Nope.
Still gotta win some series.
20 in a row in the playoffs. Well, you only need 12. Yeah, that'll do it.
Didn't they go out in the first round?
Yeah.
Season? That's crazy.
They've always gone out in the first round every year since the 89 or 1990, I should say.
Well, they won the wild card game, right? That one year. With a walk-off or something?
Oh, maybe they did.
And then they lost, yeah. But then they also had the Royals thing last year. So.
Yeah, the Royals. That was actually kind of fun. Hey, look, I felt bad for the A's actually in the wild card game because they were up and John Lester was pitching. Yeah, it was 8-3, and Lester was still in command, and just bad things happened. I mean, it was like if that was a Giants game, we'd be scarred for life.
I'd be furious, dude.
Yeah,
I'd be furious. But the fact of the matter is that there's a few things that happened there. One is, Lester kind of had a little bit of a meltdown, but he also allowed them to steal 8 times or whatever in that game.
He's never thrown a pickoff move in his career. Not
once.
He
just doesn't give a shit. Why?
No. He just
Why
doesn't.
don't you care?
Yeah, and he tells reporters to stop asking him that too. He's sensitive about it.
You know what?
It's
They're going to keep asking.
PSTD or whatever it is. PTSD.
They're going to ask until you do it, man.
Something bad happened as a child when he tried to pick someone off in Little League, I think.
Thank God he didn't pitch in the 60s or something where people actually stole a lot of bases,
Right.
It
was all small
screwed.
ball.
Yeah, he'd be screwed. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode 91 of the Torture Cast. I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you guys want to follow us, you can follow us. We are on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also follow each one of us individually. I am at Willie Dills, and Chad is at ChadK21. For our missing co-host for tonight, you can also follow Ben Lee. He's at Fried Duck. And Eric Nathanson is at 2OutHits. You also check us out on Facebook. You got torturecast.com, which is our blog. And you can also check out our YouTube channel as well. And there's some interviews there. I think we have, Chad, you just posted up the Ishikawa interview that you guys did at Media Night or Media Day.
Yeah, just a little in memoriam.
That was from last year or this year?
No, this past February.
That's from this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to check that out and get some fond memories of our boy Travis Ishikawa, you can find that there. And we'll see you guys next time for episode number 92. We are creeping up on the big hundo, 3 digits. Looking forward to that. So thanks everybody again. We'll see you next time. Boom. A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.